See? Um, I'm not sure if you can hear me now or if it's working. I see that there's lots of comments here about the sound coming in. So please write in and let me know if you can hear me in the sound, or if there's an issue. I see that there's some comments here that the sound isn't working. So we're trying to work it out. Thank you for staying with us. Oh, yes, I hear. I hear now that people are saying that it's working and that they can hear. So, okay, I see them coming in, that it's working. Technical difficulties, but it seems to be working now. So thank you everyone for chiming in and letting us know. It wouldn't be a Facebook Live without some technical issues. I'm not sure what happened. Looks like the program that we use to stream, some sort of bug there, but I am so glad that you're able to hear me. I love seeing all your comments. Thank you everyone I feel like you're all cheering us on as we go. So thank you for letting us know that it's working. So I'll do my intro again. I'm so glad to see you all joining us and here in the audience. Thank you so much for being with us today. We're so glad to bring you these Facebook Lives, and we're really excited about this one as well. Before Denise says it's true, but it's worth the technical issues. We think so too. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, Denise. Glad to have you in our audience today. So if you haven't yet, please let us know where you're joining us from, what's doing over there, what the weather's like, what time it is, where you are in your part of the world. Let us know. So we'd love to hear that. We have a great session lined up for you today with a genealogy guru, rock star. We have with us Thomas MacEntee. He's going to give us an amazing, fantastic session. So we're so excited about that. Before we get on to today's session, I want to let you know about something that we have going on here at MyHeritage. We have a Father's Day sale going on. Even if it's not Father's Day coming up in your part of the world, you can still take advantage of this fantastic deal that we have going on for MyHeritage DNA kits. So I will show you. You can see that I have a couple DNA kits here, MyHeritage DNA kits in the background. And if you haven't purchased a MyHeritage DNA kit yet, this is what it looks like. It is a lovely box, and it's so simple to take a MyHeritage DNA kit, an easy swab. I'll show you. You just open the test like this. Open it like that, and you just flip up this little section over here, and in there you'll find some swabs. It's just so easy to take. So it's really, really simple, and it makes just a lovely gift. So if you're still looking for the perfect Father's Day gift, we have the sale going on, and the link to that sale is in the comments section. So please check it out. And we hope that you'll take advantage of that, not just for fathers, it could be for anyone on your list, anyone who you're looking to get a nice gift for. So we hope that you'll take advantage of that sale. In addition, we will be having a giveaway in today's show. So all that you have to do to enter is leave a comment in the comment section. And today we'd like to hear what you'd like to see on the next Facebook Live that we have here on the MyHeritage Facebook Lives. Tell us a topic that you'd like us to cover, a guest that you'd like us to have, something that we haven't covered yet. We'd love to hear from you, your new ideas. So please let us know in the comment section. And one lucky winner at the end of today's show will receive a MyHeritage DNA kit. So we're so excited to give that away to one lucky winner today. So just let us know what you'd like to see on a Facebook Live show in the comment section, and we'll choose one lucky winner at the end of today's show. So now, without further ado, I'd like to bring on our guest for today, Thomas MacEntee, and let's bring him on to say hello. Oh, let's see. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, good. Thank you so much. Wow, this is a little bit early. I think this is the earliest we've done this for me. It's a little bit after 7 a.m. here in Chicago. But this topic excites me like you would not believe. So are we ready to get started?
Yeah, first tell everyone, would you tell everyone what we're going to talk about today?
Sure. Yeah, we're going to talk about evidence evaluation. So basically, this is how I improve my own genealogy research. This is how I built a stronger family tree on my heritage. When I started out, I mean, you won't believe this, Esther, 45 years ago doing genealogy, I really didn't. It didn't matter what type of document I used to prove something. They all had equal weight. Well, since I've learned that, and I'm going to go over the 4 factors that I use and show how you can actually do your own evidence evaluation. There's a lot of people think there's a lot of mystery to it, or it's difficult to do, and it really isn't. The resources are there. There's a 3-page handout which really has a lot of information. You're going to post a link to that as well. So I'm ready to start when you are.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, we are going to put a link to your handout in the comment section in the next minute or so, so stay tuned. Yeah, we can get started. Let me bring your slides up, and we'll make sure that we have no technical issues there.
Okay, great. Well, I was going to run the slides here. Let me see. Hold on. Can you see my screen?
Yes, perfect. We're all set.
Great, thank you. So we're here for understanding evidence evaluation and genealogy research. And as I said before, you know, this is really is one of the biggest areas of improvement you can make if you're not already doing evidence evaluation. So, you know, there's various situations as to why one record found on MyHeritage might be a better record to prove, like a birth date or a birth location. And so I'm going to work off of a few things such as Evidence Explained, which you should know about, the book and the website, as well as some of the genealogical proof standard information from the Board for Certification of Genealogists. So why should we even do this? You know, I know it's fun to get on MyHeritage and to find new people, and maybe you get your record matches. What do you do with them? And are you really looking at those records? So here is basically how I do evidence evaluation. And this is true. If it was in a book, when I started at 14-year-old boy doing this in 1977, yeah, well, it had to be true. Why would, or if it was on someone's tree, why would they lie about it? It wasn't that they were lying about it, but their research, I don't want to say it was sloppy, but it wasn't complete. So, and then I would start entering this data into MyHeritage, and then, you know, it can get propagated after that. So now I use this process where I look at the document, and I can look at it and review it for evidence while I'm just as soon as I find it on MyHeritage. So I am using a site called Evidence Explained. If you're not familiar with it, right here. Oops, where are we? Hold on. I need to get over here. There we are. Perfect. And you should be able to see this, Esther. If you can't, let me know. But this is the Evidence Explained website, and they have, this is free. I urge you to sign up so you can participate in the forums, but they also have this series of quick lessons. And this one has a very neat evidence evaluation, evidence analysis map. This is a great graphic to print out and put up on your genealogy cave wall. So that's where I'm going to get much of my information from. Also, I am using an article that was written several years ago. You're not going to be able to find it online. It's called Guidelines for Evaluating Genealogical Resources by Linda Woodward Geiger. The listing is in the resource list of the handout. So now, how do I do this? Let me show you my basic research log. I'm going to hope that this is going to open. Yes, I will accept that. This is the research log. I use a research log for everything I do, and then I put it into MyHeritage. So this is sort of my sandbox. But if you look at this, this is one of the documents we will work on. But I'm talking these 4 fields right here. I'm going to highlight them in yellow. These are my evidence evaluation fields. And this is what I do for every document I pull up, whether it has positive information, meaning it does prove the point, or maybe whether it's negative. Maybe it's the wrong John Ralph Austin. Maybe there's information missing. So that's how I do it. The other thing is, what you'll notice down here, there's a little tab called Evidence Evaluation. If you download the genealogy research log template, you get this as well. And notice this. This is my little cheat sheet. So this is if I don't remember what the certain fields mean, what my options are. But I'm going to dig deeper into that. I just want to show you the tools that I use. So I also make notes in the analysis column to support my theory of proof. That would be right here, or my great-grandfather, and here. That's it. And then sometimes I'll put things in the notes area. I can also put a link back to the document, which is really sweet. So let me talk about these factors. What are the 4 factors that I use? First thing is, what type of source is it? So is it original? Now, in very rare cases, are we going to be touching the original of like a US World War I draft card or a population schedule? I'm pretty strict in terms of that. If I find it on MyHeritage, I consider that a derivative document. Doesn't mean it's a bad document. Of course, we always want the original, but I'm going to trust that MyHeritage took the microfilm or digitize it themselves, and it is as close as possible as being at that original. It's like me being at the National Archives and handling that World War I draft card. So this is the definition of the difference between original and derivative. Clarity. Now this is one that I add, that Evidence Explained doesn't necessarily add to its map, but this is important. If it's clear, hey, you can read it, no problem. If it's marginal, you know, if you're guessing words, if you have to put up on Facebook saying, can you read this and guess the cause of death, that would be marginal. Of course, a clear document is always better, but we don't often have control as to what documents exist for our genealogy research, and we may just need to work with a marginal document. Information. I'll take some iced tea here. Information. So let's say I'm trying to prove the birth date for my great-grandfather. Now, information is either primary or secondary. Primary means that when it's written down, it's by a knowledgeable eyewitness or participant in that event. In this case, it would be my great-grandfather, or by an official whose duties require him or her to make an accurate record of the event when it occurs. So that would be my great-grandfather's birth. Secondary information, it's usually supplied by someone else. Maybe they weren't at the event. Errors caused by memory loss. This would be the situation for death certificates. Normally, in a death certificate for my great-grandfather, there would be an informant. The informant was his wife. Now, so she was not at the birth of her husband. But the thing is, how often have we seen death certificates where the information supplied by maybe a child or a neighbor is not accurate? And that is what secondary information is. Finally, you have your evidence type. And this is a fairly easy one to determine. Either it's direct or indirect. Direct evidence, basically, it states the fact. I am looking for his birth date. If it said 31st of January, 1896, boom, that's it, direct. That's the best option. That's the best outcome. Indirect, I don't mean to say that you shouldn't use indirect evidence, but indirect is more like this. When you have to back engineer information, let's say on the 1900 census, my great-grandfather, US Census, shows up as a 3-year-old. So I take 1900 minus 3, 1897, yeah, close enough. See, that's indirect evidence. Or have you ever seen a gravestone that has a death date, and then it gives the person's age like 78 years, 5 months, and 3 days, and you're like, great, now I've got to do math to figure out a birth date and back engineer it. And that is how I figure out what is direct and what is indirect. So let's do the case study for my great-grandfather. We can do this fairly quickly. And so I have heard through family stories that he was born on January 31st, 1896 in Lowville, New York. This is a man who helped raise me. I knew this man growing up. So what would I do? Well, the first thing is I'm going to do a reasonably exhaustive search, and that is part of the genealogical proof standard. This is what's put forth by BCG, Board for Certification Genealogists, and I located maybe about 9 different documents. Okay, that's the first thing I do. I'm looking for birth date evidence. Now, these are the documents I found, and these are in ascending date order, starting with the document closest to the birth date. And this is what I have. I have a 1900 U.S. federal census, 1905 New York State census. MyHeritage doesn't carry these yet, but you can get them on Family Search. 1910 United States Census. Then there's a marriage license index, where I basically found a license for my great-grandparents. Then there's a marriage index where I could find a marriage date versus the license date. Also, the World War I draft registration card. There were 3 waves of the World War I draft here in the United States. The first one was on June 5, 1917. I also found the 1920 U.S. Census. I also found a 1925 New York State Census, the 1930 U.S. Census. During World War II, there was draft registration for older men. It was called the Old Man's Draft. That's 1942. Then finally, one of the last records I have is his Social Security Death Index from when he died in 1976. So those are the documents. Now, so if I'm going to use these factors, what is the best record to prove the birth date? All right, let's go back here. I'm going to go backwards. So this is the closest document. But what happens with a federal census? Well, we can look at it, and we can look at the record itself right here, and I can enlarge it. And let's see where we find those Austins. Oh, what a messy document. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Yep. So here's Ralph Austin with his dad, William, and they just put him down. Now, this one is an aberration. This one says January 1896. It doesn't give the date, doesn't give the exact date, but this ranks pretty high, right? Well, sort of. Let's think about it. What would it be? It's derivative. It is pretty clear. The information is secondary, okay? This was given to an enumerator. We're going to assume that William, the father, was the informant. And then is the evidence direct or indirect? Well, it's not totally direct in my book. It doesn't have a day. I'm pretty strict with my stuff. I just wanted to show you that. And then we work our way through all of these documents. So what do you think would be the best document for proving his birth date? The fact is, it's the U.S. World War I draft registration card as found on MyHeritage. I'm going to close a few things here. That's the 1900s. That's yes. There we are. Great. So the reason is, if we look at it, it's pretty clear, except for this with the name, the last name up here. I don't know what happened, but it's not all that clear. But you know what? Look at this. Boom. It is direct evidence. It has the day. It has the month. It has the year. What else does this document have going for it? Now, it is derivative, so I use it off a microfilm. It is, I consider it clear. In terms of information, guess who filled out this card? John Ralph Austin. He actually signed it as well down here. This is in his handwriting. So it is primary information, direct evidence. And that is why I would use this one versus the U.S. Census 1900 as my strongest document. And so it's dated June 6, 1917. And as I said before, it's in his own handwriting. This is how I rank it. It is derivative. So we've already discussed that. It is clear, even though that surname is a little bit sketchy, it generally lines up with everything else at that point I knew about John Ralph Austin. Also, he provided this info, and that's it, direct evidence. I didn't have to do any back engineering or guessing. Also, it is the only document so far. Now, why don't I have a birth certificate? Well, in Lewis County, New York, birth registrations, I believe my great-grandfather was born at home. Birth registrations, there was not full compliance. I have not yet found a birth certificate. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So far, this one outweighs all the other documents. Even, look at this, the Social Security Death Index. Even though this has the exact birth date, this is the issue. This is so far away from the birth date. It can come down to date proximity. Also, we don't know who reported this information. Notice the death date is not exact. So this is not as good a document as the World War I draft card. He would have been 21 roughly when he filled that out. That is as close to his birth date as I can get. Also, here is the other documents. This is how I would note them. Census is usually derivative, clear, secondary, indirect. Same here for the New York State Census. It gave his age in 1905. 1910, same thing. Marriage license. Well, it's considered indirect because it gives the date of the license. It doesn't say when they were married. Now this one has potential. Why? Because it has direct evidence. It basically has their marriage date, but it is secondary information. It's an index. Indexes I rank lower than actual documents. And having that image. 1920 census, all of the censuses pretty much come out the same. Also, this one could be considered. This is the old man's draft, World War II draft registration card. 1942, pretty far away from the birth date. He would have been probably 60. Yeah, I think, I don't know how, no, he'd be 48 closely, 48, 47. It has direct information, but again, it's this one I believe is secondary. And then the death index, direct evidence, but it is secondary, and so it doesn't rank as high. I'm going to do some conclusion. I'm going to also answer some questions. I don't mean to be too quick on this, but I want you to understand it's a pretty easy thing to do once you understand what the factors are that go into evaluating that evidence. So I think that's a big part of it. You just have to learn that, maybe use research log, but I think we need to take a much more critical eye towards documents when we're using them in MyHeritage to support some of the facts and events that we have for our family tree. I want to let you know, and then we're going to do comments and bring Esther back. You can always reach me at highdefgen@gmail.com. I'm going to go back when this is over later and go back to Facebook and try and answer any of the questions that haven't been answered. A little bit more about me and the crazy stuff I do. And then also, I don't know if you knew that I have free over 33 genealogy cheat sheets. And I'm probably going to create one for evidence evaluation. But you also have the link to the handout that's going to help you quite a bit. So I'm going to get out of here, Esther, and hold on. I'm going to stop sharing. So what did you think?
I thought that was, the screen is flashing a little. That was very, very informative. And can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Yes, yes.
Okay, great. I see Sherry just wrote us and she said, Thomas MacEntee always provides clear, useful guidance on genealogy. And she said, thank you very much, MyHeritage, but really thank you to Thomas. This is such clear information and so well organized. So we all just really appreciate every time you give a Facebook Live.
Thank you. Yeah, I see Marco's question. If I can answer Marco's question, if you have the same person at different birth dates, this happens all the time. So what is the most reliable information? Well, then you've got to look at each document and you've got to see, is it direct evidence? Is it primary information? So even with 2 documents, Esther, you may not be able to get the exact birth date. I have at least 9 documents from my great-grandfather. I have only 2 with the direct evidence with the direct birth date. So this is what I'm saying. We can't just go by one document. The first document you find for something, you just can't run with it, because there may be all these other documents that work in conflict with that. So it's a matter of just evaluating the record. And if you use those 4 different areas, you can start to rank records that prove a point. So
okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That I see a few other comments here.
Sure.
Kelly says those cheat sheets sound wonderful.
Thank you.
You really are, and exactly where we put the link to the MyHeritage Knowledge Base, which is where the handout is also that Thomas gave us. We have other handouts that Thomas has given us in the past. They're there as well. And I saw a question here I just want to answer from Debbie. She said, how do you find out when the live presentations are? So once a month, we put out a blog post, blog.myheritage.com, with all the upcoming presentations, all the upcoming Facebook Lives that we have that month.
Right.
It's typically twice a week. So different times. We like to cater to many different time zones. As you can see, Thomas is up very early for us, which we really appreciate. So
Right.
so you'll find all the presentations there. And also just to let you all know, if you've missed a presentation or you want to rewatch it, for example, you'd like to refer back to something that Thomas said today, all that you have to do is go to our Facebook page just after today's session. This session will be saved there as well, on the MyHeritage Facebook page under the videos section. So Thomas, we do have a couple more questions. Robert asks, since women are not required to register for the draft, is there a similar direct evidence applicable to female ancestors?
Well, there wouldn't necessarily be at least a U.S. military record. That's what I'm more familiar with. Although there are women that served in World War I in various capacities, the Ambulance Corps. I might look for a Red Cross record. The thing is, this has always been difficult about researching our female ancestors, and I think that is a topic I covered on a previous Facebook Live. It might have been the one or two ago. The thing is that you've just got to try for a birth certificate if possible. If not, your census might be the best one, depending on the census. So a marriage record is always a good one for a female's birth date. Some of them only put down the age, but I've seen, depending on the state and jurisdiction, where they will put the birth date for the female. So.
We have a question here from, from Teresa. She asks, do you use the research log for all of your evidence?
Yeah, can I actually share my screen again? Do you mind?
Yes, of course.
Okay,
no, please do.
Great. So hold on here. I'm going to share.
Let me pull it in. One moment.
Okay.
Let's see. There we go.
Yeah. So basically, here's my research log from my great-grandfather. And you can see, here's a record that these are all the birth date records. Now, you're going to say, why are they green and why are they red? I use a traffic light system. So basically, green is good or positive energy, and it's something I've completed. Red, this doesn't prove the point fully. This usually will be something that has indirect evidence. Then something yellow is usually what I'm working on. So yes, I do. Look at this. I think I have 37 documents so far for my great-grandfather, proving various things like marriage date, etc. And but I also, look at this. I do create a research log for every person. So in my genealogy folder here, I have all my research logs. I do sort these by surname. And so here, this is all just teaching stuff. I have a lot more than this. So here, I do a research log for every person. Basically, it's my collection container for information. Think of it this way. It's also a sandbox. It's sort of a play space. Look at this. I'm tracking his address locations because I want to be able to map where my great-grandfather lived over time. I have a to-do list here. So I can basically say, okay, I've completed his birth information. Now let's move on to his father's name. So this is a nice way of keeping track of, if you've ever had a situation, Esther, where you put down your research and you come back to it a week or a month later, This helps. And then I have a cheat sheet for citation formats. And here is that evidence evaluation cheat sheet in case I forget what's the difference between, original and derivative. So, yeah. And I will go ahead and stop my share and come back. Great question.
Okay, we have a question here from, let's see, Barbara. She asks, does Civil War pension information count as direct information?
And now, information is not direct. Remember, information is primary or secondary. Evidence is direct or indirect. It is likely that with a Civil War pension packet, you never know what's going to be in there. There are affidavits. So there could be an affidavit from the wife, and it may say, my name is so-and-so, I was born on at such location. So yes, you can get direct evidence from Civil War pension file.
We have a question here from Theo who asks, Thomas, this can be very time consuming if you have very many people in your family tree. I'm guessing he's talking about the research log.
Yes, research log, yeah. Well,
and he asks, do you do this for all people in your family tree or just the important ones?
Well, no, I do it for everyone. I mean, I am playing catch up on some stuff. I mean, I have a large tree on my heritage. It is like 7,700 people.
Wow.
But I'm slowly making my way through. This is my philosophy, I'm leaving a legacy, Esther, when I do my research. I already have plans for what happens to my research and access after I pass away. And so the thing is, I want a strong tree with strong roots. I don't want a lot of unsourced information. And so to do it that way. So that's just the way that I feel about it. Also, I am, I guess, still a professional genealogist. When I research for a client, I have to track my work. And that's one way of doing it. I do want to answer Sheila's question here. How do you conclude when all the evidence is contradictory? Well, these are somewhat rare cases, but Esther, there's sometimes when all you can do is work with negative evidence, meaning, okay, I've done my reasonably exhaustive search. I have a bunch of negative evidence, but barring the fact that I didn't find anything else, you can sometimes come to a conclusion through negative evidence and say that it must be this. Because everything else, even though it looks like it's pointing away, the thing is, maybe this is the best conclusion. It's hard to describe the negative evidence. I mean, I would go look at Evidence Explained, the website, the BCG website. Sometimes it is all negative evidence, and you really bang your head against the wall collecting these documents.
Wow.
But it depends on the situation.
Has that ever happened to you personally?
I have, yeah. I've done it for client cases, and and it's not easy. But the thing is, that's basically, so maybe I'm working with one document where the evidence is not direct, it's secondary information, but it still is the best representative document because I've done my reasonably exhaustive search.
Just to go back to the log, Tracy wrote a comment here and said, absolutely love Thomas's genealogy log. It's helped me stayed.
Yes, yeah.
I think it's great at keeping yourself on track.
Right. And I also, Esther, I also do one per person. A lot of people say, can you do it for a family? Yeah, you can. The thing is, I would not do one massive research log, even though I use Excel. And Excel goes up to 1 million rows. If you have too much information, it won't let you open the file. It won't accept and edit. So I usually tend to do one genealogy research log per person. Yeah.
We have a question here from Lynn, and she asks, how often do you think birth dates were fudged on draft cards?
Oh,
it's interesting because I think that this question comes up in various Facebook Live. We're talking about military records. Or...
I think so. If someone really wanted to serve and they were underage, they would fudge their. Yeah, and that happened for World War II enlistment as well. The other thing that I see more fudging on is marriage dates, because you fudge a marriage date to cover an early pregnancy. That happened to John Ralph Austin and my great-grandmother. They said they were married May 30th, 1915, and my grandfather was born March 3rd, 1916. Well, through my research, reasonably exhaustive, I found that they didn't take a license out until July 29th of that year and got married mid-August of that year. And here I am counting on my fingers: September, October, November, December, January, February, March. Yeah, 7 months. I don't know. So I find that people fudge more on the marriage date. And don't forget, folks, the second child and all the rest can come after 9 months. The first child can come at any time.
So true. And, so many different sessions that we've had by various genealogists have shown us when they found a record that was fudged, or, different cases like that. It's so fascinating.
Yeah, and also, Esther, I just want to say it's not scandalous. My great-grandparents were very conservative, and so I know why they fudged their marriage date. They would be aghast right now. They would be rolling over in their grave. But for me, it humanizes them. It does. It endears me a little bit more, and so that's the way that I look at it. I try to do it in a non-judgmental way. Yeah.
That is I think that's a session in and of itself, is how we judge our ancestors for different things they've done.
But also presentism. Presentism is a big deal. You can't use present day social thinking, etc., and try and apply it. I don't mean to let my ancestors off the hook for bad behavior, etc., but you have to always put that record in the time period, in the context.
Definitely. Context is just so important, and also to understand what they were experiencing during those times, the wars, the famine, the different hardships that they went through as well. And so true.
Yeah.
I see Monica wrote here, Thomas, you say you have made plans for your research after you pass away. Could you do a session on what we should plan for our DNA information and tree information, etc.?
Yeah, actually, I do have one. It's called After You're Gone, Future-Proofing Your Genealogy Research. Maybe, Esther, you and I need to talk about that. We could do a mini session. It's got a great handout. But yeah, there are 3 different areas that you need to deal with. Is your original documents, like photos, letters, diaries. So it's also about preserving and digitizing them. And then the other thing is all your research. Who's going to inherit your MyHeritage tree if you pass away? You can make provisions for that. And then the third one is, we all, especially baby boomers, we have a large digital footprint. If I pass away today, my family wouldn't know what accounts I've been using, how to shut them down. So you have to make provisions for that as well. So I basically have a spreadsheet in Excel with all of my logins and passwords, and that's password protected. It goes into the fire safe every quarter so that it's updated. And yeah, I don't, the thing is, I'm not getting ready to go anywhere soon, but I want to sort of make it easier for my family. And also I don't want to lose my research. That's the whole idea.
And I think that's just so important, because the whole point of everything we're doing is to preserve it for the next generation. And if they can't access what you've preserved until now, then what's the point?
And at least once a month, I get an email from someone saying, "Did you know this genealogist so and so passed away?" And the family threw out all her research. And that happens. It really does. So we should talk about this soon.
Okay, we've had so many fantastic entries here in the comment section, and we hope to be able to bring you all a lot of these sessions, great ideas, things that we haven't covered yet. If you do want to see what we have covered in our Facebook Lives, as I said before, just go to facebook.com/myheritage under our video section, and we now have several hundred Facebook Live sessions there that you can watch in your own time. We've had so many users that said that they've rewatched a few sessions a few times, because I think just to get the information out, and sometimes they're more complicated technical parts of DNA or family history. So they're just such great sessions. We hope that you will all check them out.
And the other thing I do want to add, last final thing. So how would I incorporate this with MyHeritage tree? I could put in those 4 factors in my notes for a record when I'm working with it on the tree. And that's what I will do, is I will say, source, derivative, and then clarity, clear, and I can just make those notes. And those are notes more for me. So.
Fantastic. Now we'll give away, Thomas, if it's okay, we'll give away a My Heritage
Sure.
kit now.
Go for it. Yeah.
One lucky winner. As we said, even if you've taken a DNA test, it's always great to get tests for your friends and family members. It's a fantastic gift if you've already taken one, and we know that you obviously have more chances of finding family if you've tested everyone in your family. So we hope that you are all able to take advantage of our amazing Father's Day sale. And our lucky winner of today's draw is Denise Cox. And Denise wrote us and she said, you may have covered these sessions already, but here are some ideas. Number 1, kicking down that brick wall. Number 2, how to build out lineage on female direct ancestors, all those maiden names that you can never find. And 3, a specific micro look at the U.S. states and their state-specific access to vital records and their challenges, such as California and New York.
Congratulations, Denise. And those are great. Those are great session suggestions. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Denise. I see she already wrote and she said, woohoo, she's very excited. Yeah. So glad to be giving that prize to you today, Denise, and we'll be in touch with you through private message to claim your prize. Thomas, thank you so much for joining us today, early in the morning.
That's all right. I've been up since 4 o'clock, so yeah, that's fine.
So next time we'll know to schedule a session at 4.
Yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, listen, thank you so much for this opportunity. And I will go back to the comments in a minute and add more information. I know I didn't get to everyone's questions, but I'll do that. You know, I always go back and do that. So
thank you so much. Such a star here on our Facebook Live sessions.
Great.
And thank you to all of you for joining us in the audience. We hope to see you at our next Facebook Live as well.
Bye, everyone.